From WSYR TV Syracuse, now in high definition, this is the Morning News.
Two raids 3,000 miles apart, daring U.S. Special Forces capture and kill terrorists. Good morning, I'm Tammy Palmer. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Storm Team meteorologist Julia Wyden. Good morning.
It's time for the Morning News.
5 people are dead after being trapped under a Colorado rock slide.
Remembering Matthew Prego, a vigil for the Auburn man killed trying to rescue his girlfriend.
And the clock runs out. The federal government shuts down for the first time in 17 years.
Happening now.
One of the deadliest migrant shipwrecks in recent times. Nearly 100 killed off the coast of Italy. The shutdown impacts local veterans. Will they get the chance to visit the World War II Memorial in Washington? And the ripple effect is felt throughout the nation as we enter day 3 of the government shutdown.
From WSYR TV Syracuse, now in high definition, you're watching News Channel 9 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carrie Lazarus. We will get to the news, but first, it is another gorgeous day. Ho-hum, not really, Jim Teskey, but we are loving Central New York's most accurate forecast.
Yeah, that's true. You know, we're again headed toward the 70-degree mark here in Syracuse.
It's time for the Morning News.
Looking for a killer. Syracuse police released surveillance video of the gunman in the city's latest homicide.
Hitting the books before hitting the field, a new program to help athletes get good grades.
And still no deal. Day 2 of the government shutdown with no end in sight. Hey, coming up on the Morning News, an apparent blowout in Tennessee. It's a tragedy after a church bus crashes into not only a tractor trailer, but an SUV. There are many dead and others hurting. We'll have that story from Tennessee at 6:04.
Plus, there's no end in sight to the latest crisis hitting Washington, D.C., how the government shutdown impacts the nation as we enter day 3 of the shutdown. Coming up at 6.
Time right now is 5:58. Great morning in Central New York. The Morning News and, well, more personality continues here on News Channel 9.
Still ahead on the Morning News, a brutal attack ends with a 70-year-old man dead, and at 5:31, the woman who was there with him speaks out.
First, though, in sports, the Orange gearing up for the big game against Clemson this Saturday. At 5:25, we'll hear from some of the players about what they're doing ready to get for the big game with the Tigers. Yeah, getting ready for Clemson. 5:21 right now. We're getting ready for weather first after this.
Happening now.
Remembering James Gifford, funeral services today for the 70-year-old who was brutally attacked outside a local convenience store. UConn fires former SU head football coach Paul Pasqualoni. And the countdown continues 12 hours away now from a possible government shutdown. News Channel 9 at noon starts now.
From WSYR TV Syracuse, now in high definition, you're watching News Channel 9 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carrie Lazarus, and we will get to all the news. But first, great weather one more day. Jim Teskey is in with a look at Central New York's most accurate forecast. The hits just keep on coming, Jim.
Keep on, you say one more. You know what? There's going to be more days coming, although I think in the next 24 hours, you're going to see a little bit more in the way of cloud cover than we've seen over the last 4 or 5. No precipitation, though. There are some showers approaching western New York. We'll be talking about those in about 10 minutes or so. But for this afternoon, we're A-OK. Taking a look at the forecast. Again, a little bit more in the way of cloud cover, especially as we head toward evening. Temperatures mid-70s for the high today. 72 at 6. We're down to 63 at 9 o'clock. And there's more 70-degree weather to deal with for the rest of the week. We'll talk about that coming up in about 10 minutes. Carrie?
All right, Jim, thank you. It is pure politics in the nation's capital today. What looked last week like a game of political hot potato is now a high-stakes game of chicken, with continued operation of the federal government and possible wider impact on the economy hanging in the balance. ABC's Devin Dwyer has the latest.
Members of Congress are back to work today, just hours before the federal government will run out of cash. Capitol Hill is gridlocked over Obamacare, and there are no signs of compromise.
It's time for the Senate to listen to the American people, just like the House has listened to the American people, and to pass a one-year delay of Obamacare.
If you're serious about working together to solve problems, why don't you work together to solve problems?
Barring a last-minute breakthrough, parts of the government will shut down at midnight. That would keep 800,000 non-essential federal workers home without pay. It could delay first-time home mortgages, slow airport security lines, and limit food safety inspections. Active duty troops will remain on the job, but could see delays in pay and benefits. Meanwhile, America's national parks and monuments would close. Democrats say the only way out is a bill to fund the government with no strings attached. That's a tough sell for House Speaker John Boehner, with many Republicans insistent that Obamacare be delayed.
If he were to bring something to the floor, extend funding for the government, he'd get Democrats to support him, he'd get Republicans rebelling.
As unlikely as it seems, one top Republican says there's still a chance to find common ground.
We will not shut the government down. If we have to negotiate a little longer, we will continue to negotiate.
There are no formal negotiations underway at this hour. Many Democrats aren't eager to come to the table. Polls show more Americans would blame Republicans for a shutdown than anyone else. Devin Dwyer, ABC News, Washington.
And no matter what happens with the shutdown, the President's Affordable Care Act will roll out tomorrow as scheduled. Funding for the new law is not directly linked to the congressional budget process. Starting at midnight, New York's uninsured can start shopping for health insurance by using the state's marketplace exchange, which includes a variety of insurance providers. You can find the list at the state's health department website. The address is on your screen, or there are a couple of numbers to call. One of them is 1-855-355-5777, or you can contact a local health navigator, and that number is 1-800-475-2430. You will talk with a trained professional who will help you find insurance that is right for you. New this noon, UConn fires former SU head football coach Paul Pasqualoni. This comes after the team's loss to Buffalo over the weekend. Former offensive coordinator with the Orange during Pasqualoni's tenure, George DeLeon, was also let go. Paul Pasqualoni led the Orange from 1991 until 2004 and was picked by UConn in 2011. There'll be a news conference at 4 o'clock this afternoon to name the interim coach at UConn. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly crash in the town of Pamelia. A Honda Accord and a Ford Ranger pickup truck collided on State Route 342 Saturday afternoon. 3 people in the Honda, 28-year-old Lucas McCormick, 36-year-old Kimberly Rawson, and 25-year-old Eric Swiner died at the scene. A toddler in the back seat was taken to upstate and is in critical condition. The driver of the Ford pickup was taken to Samaritan Medical Center as in good condition. Anyone who saw the crash is asked to call the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office at 788-1441. In Cayuga County, Auburn police are investigating a robbery at the Days Inn. This happened last week at around 12:30 in the morning. A woman came into the hotel last Wednesday and told the clerk to hand over the money or her boyfriend, who was waiting in the car, would come in with a gun. The suspect is described as a white woman wearing a dark hooded sweatshirt with the hood up over her head. She was also wearing sunglasses. Police say she stole $200 from the register. Anyone with information is asked to call Detective Shea at 255-4703. Funeral services will be held today for James Gifford. The 70-year-old Syracuse man died days after being attacked outside a convenience store on Valley Drive in Syracuse. The funeral is at 1 o'clock this afternoon in Elmwood Presbyterian Church on South Avenue in Syracuse. Police say 18-year-old Romeo Williams attacked Gifford at random, causing the injuries that led to his death. Happening today, 2 Central New York men who found themselves on the scene of a horrific crime earlier this year will receive one of the state's highest honors. It was back in March when Lori Bresnahan was murdered and a young girl with her was raped. First on the scene that night were William Craig and John Hark, who happened to be driving down Verplank Road near Great Northern Mall. The 2 men were with Bresnahan in her final moments, assuring her that the little girl would be okay. For their actions, Craig and Hark will be honored today with the New York State Senate Liberty Award. Syracuse police are on the lookout after 2 pizza delivery drivers were robbed at gunpoint over the weekend. The first one was Saturday night on Tioga Street. Police say 3 Hispanic men stole food from the delivery person. Then on Sunday night, another driver was robbed at Shennick Court. No one was hurt there. Police don't know if the robberies are connected, but if you know anything about them, call them at 442-5222. News is just coming in at this hour. At least 48 people have been hurt after 2 commuter trains crashed near Chicago. The wounded were transported to hospitals, and authorities believe they have minor injuries. We'll keep you updated with more information on the air and on 9WSYR.com. Well, we now know when 2 former popes will be officially named as saints by the Catholic Church. Today, Pope Francis announced the canonization of Pope John Paul II, and Pope John XXIII will be held next spring. The faithful will descend on the Vatican for the event on April 27th of next year. Happening today, Alex Rodriguez fights his 211-game suspension. That was the original penalty handed down from Major League Baseball for using performance-enhancing drugs. But A-Rod is appealing, saying he was unfairly targeted. Today, his lawyers will sit down with league officials and an arbitrator, with testimony likely lasting all week long. A traffic alert now for folks who take Route 370 in Baldwinsville. The bridge over the Seneca River is back open today. The bridge was closed over the weekend to crews so that they can pour concrete decks. That job is done, and the 1 lane will reopen today to 1 lane alternating traffic, just like it's been for the last several weeks. Still ahead here, we'll check today's health headlines, and we'll see what's happening on Wall Street. Jim?
Well, the numbers weather-wise still look good. We've cracked 70 degrees yet again here in Syracuse. We'll show you how long the 70-degree weather is going to last and give you the complete Storm Team forecast coming up next.
You're watching News Channel 9 at noon with Carrie Lazarus and Storm Team meteorologist Jim Teskey with Central New York's most accurate forecast. News Channel 9, the local station.